This is my first time here, and I am so excited to explore. My name is Crystal Harvey, and I'm a proud NAF alumni hailing from Miami, Florida. Many moons ago, I was the recipient of one of the NAF's prestigious alumni awards, and I'm thrilled to be back on stage to kick off this show. I'm proud to be a part of the NAF family, and I'm proud to be here representing all of you in this next segment. During registration, we asked you to submit your questions for Lisa, and now we're going to answer them. I need your help with this one. You ready? I need you to get up out of your seats. I need you to make some crazy noise for Lisa, NAF CEO Dughi! Woo! Thank you. I brought two pair, just in case. So Lisa.
Yes.
How did you celebrate National Pathway Day on April 16th?
Well, we were thrilled to celebrate National Pathway Day this year for the first time, which was spearheaded by our incredible partners at Porterville Unified School District, and under the leadership of Pathways Director Cindy Brown. This is now a national effort that was made possible by collaboration with NAF, ConnectEd, and the Linked Learning Alliance. And National Pathway Day is a moment to honor and elevate this work of educators, of schools, and of organizations committed to expanding access to career-connected learning. By coming together to celebrate, we shine a spotlight on the importance of preparing students for successful futures through real-world hands-on experiences. We're excited to see even more schools and districts join us next year on April 16th to keep that momentum growing and to wish Cindy Brown a happy birthday on April 16th.
Absolutely, that sounds like it was amazing. Now, speaking of things shaping our future, let's talk about technology. How will AI be addressed in our curriculum?
Well, it certainly seems impossible to not talk about AI everywhere we go these days. And so NAF knows that AI literacy matters. You'll definitely be hearing a lot throughout the sessions around AI, but it's critical that we don't let fear of the unknown keep us from progress and that we learn how to use AI with purpose. So we've been a little bit ahead of the curve on this. In fact, NAF launched our first AI-focused curricular expedition back in 2021, which was a little before AI was mainstream in a lot of classrooms. And because AI touches every single sector and every student, whether they're NAF students or not, it's really important that everyone has access. So through our digital platform of KnowPro, students get to build skills through challenges that embed AI across all formats, whether it's 15-minute micro-learning modules or 4 to 6 week-long projects. So these experiences are definitely designed to deepen understanding and spark curiosity about AI's role in every industry. And now we have some exciting news that with the generous support of Google, we're going to announce the launch of a dedicated AI literacy unit for every NAF career pathway this summer. And this expansion is a major milestone. And it's really one of the few efforts of its kind in the country. And so we're really making sure that we're providing students with that hands-on, sector-specific AI learning that prepares them for the future of work. And of course, we need to make sure that we are investing in our educators also. So our AI community of practice is bringing together academy teachers to explore tools, earn certifications, and lead professional learning for their peers, ensuring that classrooms stay innovative, stay informed, and of course, future ready.
It's exciting to see that NAF is leading the way in tech literacy. But before we had micro-learning modules, we had a mission, and that mission started 45 years ago. This year is a historic occasion for NAF celebrating its 45th anniversary. So Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about how it all started?
Of course. So 45 years ago, in 1980, our founder, Sandy Weil, really had a bold idea that was ahead of its time. He really envisioned a new way to prepare young people for a meaningful future. And at that time, he was trying to fill back office jobs where he worked in finance, and he noticed that New York City teenagers were disconnected from school, and he thought about what if there was a way to build economic mobility for students and connect that with the Department of Education through a public and private partnership, and that's really what sparked his idea for NAF. So he partnered with the DOE in New York City, and the idea took root in a single classroom in John Dewey High School in Brooklyn, where 35 students formed that very first NAF Academy. And today, that seed has grown into a powerful national movement where NAF supports over 600 academies, reaching more than 112,000 students annually across 34 states and US territories. And at the tender age of 92, Sandy just retired as chairman and became chairman emeritus of the NAF Board of Directors. And he is still keenly engaged with the board and with this work and the accomplishments of our students and educators. And he has said, despite his incredible both business and philanthropic efforts, that NAF has been a labor of love over the last 45 years, and it's one of his greatest accomplishments of his career. And that is in huge part thanks to all of you.
That deserves a round of applause, don't you agree? So from a Brooklyn classroom to over 600 academies, it's amazing what vision and community can do. So what makes an academy culture truly thrive today? In your observations of NAF academies, what helps grow great academy culture, and how does one start their academy down that path?
Well, I'm so fortunate to get to travel around the country and get to visit so many of your academies each year. And one of my recent trips was to Birmingham, Alabama, where I got to spend some time with educators and students, and what I witnessed really was something remarkable. In their academies of engineering, of health sciences, and IT, students were doing extraordinary work, tackling real-world challenges with curiosity, creativity, and determination. On one side of the school, we saw in their health sciences academy a medical dummy that actually made noise to show that it was in pain. And then on the other side of the school, there was a full media setup to conduct television and podcast interviews. And it was all what you would expect to see in the most professional of settings. And so to build and sustain such a positive and curious culture, it really starts with two key components, and that's educator commitment and partner support. And the unwavering commitment of the educators and administrators really just pours so much life and support into students. And so when educators are deeply invested in helping every student make meaningful connections between what they're learning in the classroom and their future careers, the incredible results just occur. And so we really do need to make sure that we continue to put that investment into all of you, and that we need the support of local and national partners to provide that work-based learning and those opportunities to academies, like mock interviews and resume writing and meet and greets and paid internships. And of course, you'll hear more about advisory boards during the conference, but an engaged and active advisory board can make such a difference in the future readiness of students. And to the question of how do you get started, well, if you're in this room, you certainly already have gotten started. But along with using the best practices and resources provided by your portfolio managers and ASH and the Academy Support Hub, connecting with the national network here in this room is one of the greatest resources. And making sure you continue that throughout the year, these are your champions. And we really want to encourage that, because that really is what can continue to make so many more academies really successful and have the outcomes that we seek.
Absolutely. A thriving culture is really the heartbeat of an academy. Now let's shift to something that's been making national headlines lately. With the current administration talk of getting rid of the Department of Education and the recent streamlining of DEI programs and eliminating funds, how does that impact NAF?
Well, we all know that recent policy shifts at the federal level have impacted a wide range of programs that support student access, equity, and workforce development. And these changes have understandably raised concern across the education and nonprofit sectors. And at NAF, we remain steadfast in our mission. Regardless of the current or future political landscape, our work sits at the intersection of education and workforce development, and it's a space that is essential for the future success of young people and the strength of our economy. So the need for what we do has never been clearer. When access to resources is reduced elsewhere, it only reinforces how critical it is that we continue to expand opportunities, especially for communities disproportionately impacted by these changes. So career-connected learning, exposure to industry, and hands-on experiences don't just enhance education, they truly change lives. And we've seen that firsthand, and all of you have seen that firsthand. Through the journeys of the over 650,000 NAF students and alumni, each are equipped with the skills, the confidence, and the support they need to pursue their goals. And their stories are proof that this approach works. And our mission hasn't changed, and our commitment has only deepened. And the good news is that as we continue to build strong partnerships with educators, industry leaders, peer organizations that share our belief that talent is universal, even though opportunity is not, that we are really working to ensure that every student, regardless of background, has access to real-world learning that opens doors and really unlocks potentials. And that's who we are, and that's what we do, and that is what we will continue to do in partnership with all of you.
Lisa, thank you for your honest perspective. Let's take it a step further and talk about how this affects the funding that supports so many of these efforts. What issues do you envision related to the reduction in funding of federal grants? What do you hear regarding the Carl Perkins V grant?
So we can start with the Perkins funding piece. So we know that the 26 federal appropriations process is still underway, and the president's proposal actually maintains current funding levels for the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act, which, given the broader funding environment, is a positive sign for CTE. And both the House and the Senate have held budget hearings, and the House is expected to review the legislation that includes Perkins later this month. And that said, in recent years, we've certainly seen that the process often does stretch into the fall or even beyond, which, with continuing resolutions can extend some of the uncertainty. But again, the good news is that CTE continues to be a strong bipartisan support, and both Congress and the White House have emphasized its importance in recent hearings and proposals. So there's definitely a shared understanding that meeting the country's workforce development needs requires strong support for multiple pathways, including the work that NAF and all of you do every day. And so NAF is actively advocating for Perkins funding alongside partners like ACTE and Advanced CTE. And you've seen some of the pictures, we have a coalition of our peer organizations that's been doing Hill visits to really advocate for policy together. And your voices all matter too. So we really do encourage you to reach out to your federal representatives and share how CTE is making an impact in your schools and communities. And if you haven't already, please make sure you take the moment to fill out the quick survey on Perkins funding via the QR codes around the room. And don't hesitate to connect with NAF's policy team during office hours in the Innovation Studio, because we'd love to hear how you're using Perkins funds to help bolster the support for continuing to ensure that that funding continues. And as for the broader question around reductions in federal grant funding, the impact is still unfolding. We've seen some recent cuts to research agencies like NIH and NSF, and this will likely affect the evaluation and measurement of CTE program outcomes, which is something that is critical to improving and sustaining our work. And so we're definitely keeping a close eye on these developments and weighing in where we can. And again, your advocacy is vital. We want to make sure that you make your voice heard, and we help to support that. And together we can make sure that we continue to push for the resources our students and our educators deserve.
Absolutely. Lisa, it's clear that advocacy and awareness will play a major role. Now let's shift gears just a little bit and look at what's coming next. Are there plans in the works to start academies for middle school students?
This is definitely something we hear a lot, and right now our focus will continue to be on the high school education system. However, we're actively engaging with middle school programs and feeder schools to ensure that incoming freshmen, new students, and their guardians are all educated about CTE and academies in their areas. And we partner with academies and affiliate programs for open house events, recruitment fairs at the middle school level, and we continue to support where we can. And we're also building partnerships with peer organizations that have strong middle school and even lower school programming that can connect directly into NAF academies. So continuing to build the whole ecosystem while we kind of maintain our programming in the high school space.
It's really good to hear that we're building those bridges early. So now what about expanding into new career fields? Will NAF bring back the first responder government service pathway?
So the expansion of pathways is key to NAF and for our students' education opportunities. And so while our primary pathways continue to be health sciences, IT, engineering, hospitality and tourism, and finance, we recognize that tomorrow's jobs are unique and we need to be able to provide students with comprehensive offerings. So NAF has actually more than doubled the number of other themed academies in the last 7 years, reflecting the growing demand for a diverse set of career pathways. And some of the examples of this span a wider range of career clusters, including agriculture, food and natural resources, arts, audio, video, entertainment, and technology communications, business management and administration, education and training, and law, public safety, and corrections and security. And so ultimately, pathway decisions are driven by local context. What your students are interested in, what your community needs, and which industries are looking for talent, and how we really support that local workforce development. So our role is to support you in creating high-quality experiences aligned with those needs, whether that's a traditional NAF pathway or a locally designed academy with strong public service focuses. You know, if your school or district is interested in developing or reintroducing first responder or government service or any of the other different pathways that we've been talking about, we welcome the conversation. And NAF is always here to partner with you and explore whatever is possible in your community.
It's interesting to see the flexibility based on the community needs. Now let's end with a little inspiration. As we round out the questions, what does this year's theme, Your Journey, Our Quest, mean to you?
So I really love this year's conference theme because it is more than a slogan. So each of you is on your own unique journey, rooted in the realities of your schools, your districts, and your communities. And yet, we're all united by a shared quest to build a more accessible, a more connected, and a more empowering education system, one where every young person has the opportunity to thrive. And as our theme isn't just a slogan, this conference isn't just an event. Please know that you have my personal support and the support of the entire NAF team, not just during the conference, but all year long. And in addition, as I mentioned, you have the power of this national network. Whether you're navigating big changes, celebrating wins, or tackling new challenges, we are here for you. And you'll find many of us in the room and many more across the country to listen, to support, and to act. So please be sure to reach out. And a huge thank you for all that you do, not just for NAF, but for the hundreds of thousands of students whose lives are changing every single day through your dedication and your leadership. And it's an honor to get to be on this journey with you. And with you, Crystal.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for taking time to answer these questions, and thank you to everyone for your submissions. I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see where this quest takes us. Please, once again, up on your feet, loud, crazy noise for Lisa Dughi, CEO